We've been talking a lot about the JT Miller situation. I don't see anybody talking about this. What about the Four Nations face-off? Sweden, USA, Miller, Pettersson. They're going to play each other.
Yeah.
So do you think that they're going to be a little bit harder on him? Well, maybe not Elias on JT, but do you think JT's going to give him a few extra cross-checks if they trade him before the tournament or if they're still teammates? And it's like fresh. Like, I just had to deal with you on Tuesday. Now I'm ready to go.
You know what? It's funny. If this was the World Championships or the Olympics, I would say yes. But the fact that it's still an NHL-sanctioned tournament, no. I still think this is going to be an absolute softy tournament. I don't think you're going to see any bad blood. I don't think you're going to see anything after the whistle. I think it's just going to be a glorified All-Star game.
You think so?
Yeah, 100%.
You think the Olympics would be better?
Obviously. I mean, you're look, when you're done and retired, do you, in order of things that you gloat about, is it World Championship, Olympic gold medal, Stanley Cup, or I won the Four Nations Cup? Which one is first? Which one is last?
What kind of trophy are they giving away for the Four Nations face-off?
What does it matter? You're not getting a ring for it.
Is it big?
You're not getting a ring.
No. Oh, it looks good on Instagram, hoisting up the photo. I'm sure a couple ladies will like that. Slide in there, throw up a little flare. Hey, I'm in Montreal for the weekend.
I don't know if you're bragging about that 10 years after your retirement. Go, well, I won the Four Nations Cup.
You know, I was kind of disappointed they set the whole roster so early in advance with no wiggle room, and now look at how many guys have taken off, and they're not going to be even having a chance to, let's say there's 2 roster spots open, they could fill it up last minute. Hey, this guy's performing well. This guy's caught fire. Let's bring him in, as opposed to like everything's just set. I didn't like that.
Well, could you imagine if the tensions over in Eastern Europe died down right before? Does that mean you allow Russia back in?
So I had this penciled in for later in the programming, but it's a joke that they don't have Russia because Russia would probably win the tournament.
I agree. I agree 100%. I mean, this is supposed to be a showcase of your greatest players because they scrapped the All-Star game for the Four Nations Cup, but your best players are not allowed to play. So what's the point of having the tournament?
And we're the wokest one of the wokest organizations in all pro sports. You look at the UFC, they have Russian fighters. They don't care about the political situation. Can you fight? Yes. Okay, great. Come fight for us. Do you want to watch sports? Great.
The Australian Open just wrapped up last week. And
are they Russians or no?
Well, Arina Sabalenka, who is a Belarusian, so she's from Belarus, who is in bed with the Russians. Any Russian or Belarusian player that is in the tournament, they're allowed to play, but they're not allowed to fly their flag. So if you go online, it will show all the flags of what country the players are representing, except for Russia or Belarus.
I don't mind that.
Why? What does it matter?
Let them play. They're playing, right? You want the best to play.
Yeah.
But to say, listen, like you were born in Russia in 1988, sorry, dude, you can't play. We don't like your leader. Like, that's not fair. Let them play because they're also probably going to win the tournament. But, okay, you can play. We're going to take away your flag so you don't have to raise it and celebrate your country. I'm not a big fan of that, but I understand that. At least you're letting them play.
I don't know. I the way I look at it, if you're going to let them play, then announce where they're from. Announce where they're living, you know? I don't know.
Here's a better question.
I don't get it. Like, we talked about this before. The fact that the NHL is still allowing Russians to play in their league, but not allowed in the Four Nations Cup because they don't want them wearing their flag on their chest, regardless of what your political affiliation is, regardless of what you think of what's going on over there. If they're good enough to play in your league, then they should be good enough to play in your All-Star game.
When do you think Russia's going to come back to an actual international hockey tournament if you had to put some money on it?
Once the conflict is done.
When do you think that's going to be?
Once the conflict is done. That's a great question. I have no idea when that's going to happen.
You don't think they'll budge earlier and say, you know what, it's been long enough. We need to have the Russians in?
No.
Because they're so woke?
No. Well, it's not. It has nothing to do with woke. It's that they drew their line in the sand, and that's it.
But you're punishing the players for what somebody else is doing. It's not their fault.
Well, look, you know what? I'll be honest with you. I'm sure the Russians are like, I'm happy to take the week off.
Well, they're going down to Cabo. They're going speedboating in Aruba.
Right.
The Ottawa Senators were on Eugene's Lake.
Hey, if you enjoyed this video, hit the subscribe button. We do a new podcast every single Sunday during the season called Sling the Biscuit. It is a non-mainstream hockey podcast, so we talk about my hockey career, the minor pros, Spain, the Fed, you name it, all the stuff that you won't hear in the mainstream news.
Music,
pop culture,
politics, a little bit.
Thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you soon.